It's time for newspapers. Sunny Ntayombya from the New Times joins us now to take us through some of the front pages. All right, Sunny, what's happening is this week we're having legal aid week in Rwanda.
Yes, that is true.
But does everybody understand what they're entitled to? And if yes, do certain things have to be changed?
Well, there's a couple of issues that we have to talk about. Yes, there's a legal aid week, and yes, it's probably doing a lot of great stuff. There are a lot of Rwanda who are getting lawyers and having lawyers represent their interests in court, and very often you find it's quite a successful process. But we have to ask ourselves, okay, first of all, it's just a week. And two, even if it was longer, how many lawyers do we have in this country? We have barely 600 lawyers, okay, on the bar. And the vast majority of them are in Kigali. So looking further on, past the legal aid week, are people, say, in Musanze or Rubavu, or the villages of those areas, are they going to actually have legal representation? Secondly, we have an issue in Rwanda where you find that someone who is either in court for murder, rape, treason, terrorism, they can or cannot have legal representation. Yes, the Constitution allows for legal representation, but it's not a must. For example, in Uganda, no matter your level of income, if you are in court for a capital offense, e.g. one that can either give you life or the death sentence, you must have a lawyer.
You can't defend yourself.
You cannot defend yourself. So the question is, yes, we have legal aid week, yes, we have a challenge of lawyers, but yes, perhaps we should also maybe change the Constitution and make sure that those people who are not able to afford lawyers and they are in capital offense cases or life sentences, they should be guaranteed legal representation. That's just my opinion, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of lawyers who kind of agree with me.
You think that's going to be discussed this week?
I certainly hope so. If not, perhaps Rwandans can talk to their members of parliament and get that law changed.
Right. So this year marks the 66th anniversary of the UN Genocide Convention. What does that mean for us here in Rwanda? Well,
that's a huge deal for us in Rwanda, especially looking at our history. This year's theme is kind of like looking really at the issues of revisionism and genocide denial. If we look at just what's going on, if we just look at various forms of the media, if we just look at the BBC documentary just the other day, a lot of observers and me myself are seeing they're trying to change history. They're trying to say, well, did this really happen? Did this really happen? If it has been done in the Holocaust, there are a lot of scholars, quote unquote scholars, who are saying, well, were the numbers really 6 million Jews? They're starting to change the numbers, and once you start changing numbers, then you take away from the impact.
That's how revisionism starts.
Yes, that's the process. It's a process. They keep lowering the numbers, lowering the this and that, and you find that the powers, okay, of the numbers of the victims start, and that as we celebrate, the great law that came after the Second World War, we have to say that we need to really protect it because there are people who will deny history for their own means, for their own ends.
Right.
All right. Now let's move on to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Joseph Kabila just changed the government once again, and he got in members of the opposition, members like Thomas Luhaka, Evariste Boshab, who were in the opposition, but at the same time, who were basically allies. They wanted him to stay in power after 2016 to change the amendments. I mean, how is it going? What do you think is happening here?
Well, it's very interesting. It's some kind of weird coalition government. You have members of Pierre Bemba's party. You have Kengo Wadongo's party, guys who have been fighting tooth and nail against the Kabila government. So you have to ask yourself, okay, am I a cynic? Am I thinking that people are deciding that, okay, rather than fight for political power, let us share and have a good time. Congo is rich for all of us. Let's be all rich. Why fight? That's just me, and I'm being cynical. Other people are saying, well, it's a move to kind of get those opposition voices into the government and have them not talking so much about his quote-unquote move to change the constitution to allow him to run for another term in 2016. However, I feel like that's a bit too simplistic. As any Congo observer knows, there are a couple of issues that we have to look at. First of all, there's the local government elections that have to take place before the presidential elections.
And they're not very organized.
And then let's be honest, all right? And having a thing like that in a country the size of Western Europe, with no roads, with no training, there are actually probably no laws putting in place all those things, it will take at least 2 years, if not 3. Throw in the fact that there has to be a census. Congo has not had a census since 1984.
Which is when Mobutu Sese Seko was still in power.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, how are they going to have a proper poll, a proper election, without knowing how many voters are there? You know, where are the voters? So if he's smart, he doesn't even need to change the constitution. All he has to say is, well, I really want to leave, but I cannot leave without these steps in place because I would leave some kind of
mess behind me,
like some kind of vacuum. So all he has to say is, let us first finish this. Let us not change the constitution. I will leave when it's time. And I can bet you, in 2020, we might see Joseph Kabila still waiting for the census to take place.
Now, this is a country that was run by one dictator for 32 years. Do you believe this one might stay in power?
Quickly before we have to wrap up.
Well, the way I look at it, why he's not going to change a winning subject. He's not going to change a winning team.
Formula.
Everyone is happy. He's going to get the opposition. He's going to get the members of the clergy. He's going to give all of them money, and everyone will eat, and everyone will be happy.
Something to definitely watch.
Very much so.